So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this session we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will be taking up few articles from your weekends as well. So we will try to cover the comprehensive details of the last weekend as well as Monday. And we will be talking about a fact of the day, as you know that we have started it last time. Then we will be talking about the constitution. We have discussed the directive principles, and now today we will be discussing the fundamental duties, that is article 51A. After that we will be moving to the important articles, just like you can say unified pension scheme. Recently government has come up with a new pension scheme, so we will be talking about this pension scheme which is known as unified pension scheme. We will try to take up the important or salient features of this particular scheme, and then we will be moving forward with the the other regimes of the pension scheme which are already there. So we will talk about what is the difference between then and now. Okay, then we will talk about Bhishma cubes. On the visit to Ukraine, our Prime Minister has gifted nearly 4 units of Bhishma cubes to Ukraine. So we will talk about that. Then moving further, we will talk about Vigandhara. This is an initiative which has been started by a ministry and they have gotten the approval of the cabinet. Okay, so we will be talking about that. What is Vigandhara? Okay, so that will be our today's agenda. Other than that, there will be 3-4 important articles. We will be discussing that as well. So let's start. We will first start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. What historic event does National Space Day in India commemorates? That is basically when we talk about National Space Day, that is 23rd of August. Okay, this is the time, or this is the day on which our Chandrayaan has actually gone for the soft landing on the south pole of the moon. That is why it is an important step, or the you can say important development in the field of space when we talk about India. And second thing is, this is the first time any country has soft landed on the south pole, so that is also a big achievement for India. So here you can see option C would be a right answer, that is the anniversary of Chandrayaan 3 moon landing. Okay, now when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, there are Chandrayaan 1 as well as Chandrayaan 2. Okay, we know that Chandrayaan 2 had the orbiter, lander and rover, but orbiter was successful, lander and rover could not perform, and otherwise we can say that there was this communication error in the Chandrayaan 2's soft landing. So that was there, and Chandrayaan 3 was the one wherein we have sent the the rover and the lander, wherein we were successful for in the soft landing of these two. Okay, now moving further, we will be starting with the fact of the day. In 2002, Supreme Court of India declared right to hoist national flag as a fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a). Okay, when we talk about the our right to hoist national flag, that is our fundamental right that has been declared by Supreme Court in 2002. Now the thing is, in which article they have actually mentioned it, that is basically Article 19(1)(a). Okay, so that is related to your freedom of speech and expression. Court has said that right to hoist a national flag actually signifies that you are expressing your freedom, you are expressing your expression towards your country. Okay, so that is why it is the significance. It is significant because it is letting you express your feelings with respect to your freedom. Okay, so that is about your right to hoist the national flag. Now please remember that it is a fundamental right and it was interpreted in article 19(1) subclause A. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now moving further, we will be starting with the our constitution discussion. As I told you that we have discussed the union territory, citizenship, fundamental right and DPSPs. Now we will be coming to the next one, that is article 51A, fundamental duties. Okay, and this is given in part 4A. Now since there is this suffix which is there, that means that it has been attached in the constitution after the constitution was enacted. So you can say that by the means of a constitution amendment, it has been introduced in the constitution, and that constitution amendment was basically your 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, as that was there in 1976. When we talk about 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, because it is as I told you earlier also, that it is known as the mini constitution of India. Why? Because there were significant changes which has been done in 42nd Constitution Amendment Act. One of them was introducing these fundamental duties. Okay, now fundamental duties, when we talk about these fundamental rights, okay, so on the, you can say, when we talk about fundamental duties, these are to complement these rights, because rights comes with certain duties, there are certain responsibilities, these responsibilities are given in the fundamental duties. Okay, so earlier they were inherently there, but now they have made it express that these are the fundamental duties of a citizen of India. Okay, so that has been given in the article 51A, that is fundamental duty part 4A of the constitution. Okay, now we'll be discussing certain you can say interesting facts about these fundamental duties, then I will be giving you the list. You can go through the list because obviously you must have read that in your static portion. Now here you can see a fundamental, when we talk about part 4A, that is talking about fundamental duties, article is 51A. Now here you can say that there is only one article that has been introduced, there are nearly 11 fundamental duties. Okay, now when we talk about the original text, so in that particular, after the 42nd constitution amendment, there were 10 fundamental duties which were added, but later on there was another which has been added, we will be talking about that as well. Okay, so there are total 11 fundamental duties as of now. Okay, so article 51A is the article which talks about all the 11. Okay, now coming to the next one, the fundamental duties were added by the 42nd Amendment Act of the Constitution in 1976, which we have talked about. Then Swaran Singh committee recommended on more than 4 fundamental duties, however not all were included in the constitution. Okay, now you can say that the 42nd amendment was a result of Swaran Singh committee's recommendations. Okay, now these recommendations were not fully followed, there were more than 10 you can say fundamental duties which has been given by the, you can say, Swaran Singh. There was this right to fundamental duty to pay tax was also there. So but the thing is, there were other which were also there, but the government has chosen the 10 and they have amended the constitution with the 10 fundamental duties. Okay, so if they ask you that which committee was there who recommended the fundamental duties, you can say that there was this Swaran Singh committee. Okay, moving on, it contains originally 10 duties, now it contains 11 duties by 86th amendment in 2002. Now when we are talking about the 86th amendment in 2002, that was related to your education. Okay, so guardians has to provide for the education of their wards, so that was given in the fundamental duty, that is 11th. Okay, so these were certain facts which we have talked about the fundamental duties. There is in the next slide, these are the fundamental duties. If you want, you can take a screenshot. If you want, you can pause the video, you can read them. If you want, you can watch these in the PDF which will be shared on the Telegram channel. And there was this comment in yesterday's lecture, I mean on Friday's lecture, that will they be getting the PDF of these sessions? Yes, they will be getting the PDF of this session in the Telegram group. There is a Telegram channel. We have given the link in the description, so you can go and download the PDF of it. Okay, so you can go through these fundamental duties. These are basic and simple language which is given, so you can understand. Okay, now moving further and starting with the first article of the day, that is related to your pension schemes. Okay, so here you will be seeing unified pension scheme approved by the Union Cabinet, increasing its share. Center rolls out new plan, guarantees 50% of the basic salary as per the pension. Now here you can say Union Cabinet on Saturday approved a new unified pension scheme for the central government employees, which assured them 50% of their average basic pay drawn over the last 12 months period prior to the retirement. So basically they are saying that under this particular scheme, the employees will be getting 50% of their basic pay on average, whatever they have got in the last year. Okay, so that is about the scheme. We will be talking about some salient features which has been given under this article only, but I have taken the liberty to make them in the points form here, so you can directly revise from here. Okay, so when we talk about the new scheme, there are certain things which are given, like one is assured pension, that you will be getting an assured pension. We will be seeing that why we have actually taken this assured pension, because the last scheme, that is national pension scheme, in that we did not have this assured pension. Okay, that was related to the funds you were investing in, but the thing is, right now you will be getting assured pension. Here pension amount will be the 50% of the average basic pay from the last 12 months you have drawn the salary before the retirement. Okay, so basically average of the last 12 months they will be taking as an average salary, and 50% of that will be you will be getting. Okay, then eligibility criteria, that is minimum 25 years of the service. if you want to avail this particular scheme, you need to serve for at least 25 years. But what if you have not served for the 25 years or less than 25 years? So there is also arrangements like for 10 years to 24 years, you will be getting a pension which is proportionate to the service length. How much you have served, accordingly you will be getting a pension. But if there is you can say for 10 years, if you have actually paid your service, that means that you will be getting a minimum pension of 10,000 rupees, that is given over here, assured minimum pension, that is 10,000 rupees per month. Okay, that is there. Then assured family pension, they will be getting 60% of the pension amount, okay, on the death of that particular person. Okay, so let's say you got the pension, and after few years that particular person or the government servant who is getting the pension or who is entitled to the pension, he dies, then the family or the spouse will be getting the 60% of the pension for them. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, if we talk about what is the goal of this particular pension scheme, so here you can see, provide financial security and stability with a guaranteed income stream from the government employees and their families post retirement. Okay, till the time person is actually serving in the government, he is getting salary. After that, what is about the financial needs of that particular person? Considering that, they have come up with this particular you can say pension scheme, that is to ensure financial stability to the retired government servants. Okay. Other than that, gratuity and lump sum payments. So you will be getting a lump sum payment nearly equivalent to 1/10 of the monthly emoluments for every completed 6 months of the service. Okay, let's say you have actually gone for the service like 30 years service you have provided. Okay, then for every 6 months they will be taking the 1/10 of your emoluments. Okay, so let's say every 6 months, that is every half a year. So for 15 years you will be getting whatever emoluments you have. Okay, 1/10 of that you will be getting as a lump sum amount along with the gratuity. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, effective date and options. So from 1st April 2025 you will be getting this particular scheme implemented. Okay, after that, what are the options? Employees can go for the choosing between national pension scheme and the UPS, that is unified pension scheme. What is national pension scheme, we will be seeing in the further slides. So after implementation, you will have two options, that is either you can go for the NPS or you can go for the UPS. Okay, whatever you choose, you cannot change it. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, inflation indexation. So basically they will be accounting for the inflation as well. Okay, so that is a important factor over here. With respect to the inflation, the amount might vary. Okay, in you can say with respect to the whatever pension you are getting. Okay, so that is there. Inflation indexation will be there. Okay, they will be taking the CPI, consumer price index, for the industrial worker. Okay, so that is AICPI IW. So that will be the reference point for that. Now coming to the old pension scheme, we are talking about the pension scheme which was there before the national pension scheme. Okay, so we had an old pension scheme, then there was this national pension scheme which came during the regime of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and then again we are coming to this unified pension schemes. Okay, so let's see. Old pension scheme, OPS, assured pension was there earlier also, 50% of the last drawn salary that will be getting, no contribution requirement, funded by the government. Now the thing is, in this particular regime, or you can say in this particular scheme, you don't have to pay, government servant don't have to pay any kind of contribution for their pension. Okay, everything will be handled by the government. But in the new schemes, the government will be contributing certain amount and the employee has to contribute certain amount. Okay, so now moving further, inflation adjustment, that was there in the UPS as well, and it was there in the old pension scheme as well. Then it is unfunded. Okay, so now since there is no fund, government, it is a liability on the government, so though no fund needed. But in the current regime, or you can say when we are talking about the unified pension scheme, they are saying that there will be certain contribution. Okay, so what will be there, that 10% will be contributed by the employee. Okay, nearly 14 to 18%, because right now it is 14%, and government is saying that they will be increasing it to 18%. Okay, now this 18% will be contributed by the you can say government. Now there will be a fund which will be created over here, and they will be paying pensions from this particular fund. Earlier in the old pension scheme, there was no fund, it was a liability on the government. Okay, so it was the whole, you can say, burden was there on the government, relies on the government revenues rather than a dedicated pension fund. Okay, Moving further, limitations. Obviously, limitation was that everything was, you know, a burden of government, so that was having some kind of financial issues as well. So here you can see the OPS was criticized for being fiscally unsustainable due to its unfunded nature, leading to substantial pension liabilities on the government. Okay, so that is there. Now coming to the new pension scheme, the national pension scheme, and we have already discussed the unified one. Okay. Now, in the national pension scheme NPS, what we are looking at, that is having a defined contribution. As I told you earlier, there was no fund. Okay, now they have come up with a fund, and since here it is written that is it was funded, so basically they have created a fund, and that fund was, you can say, based on the contribution by the employee as well as the government. So here you can see both the employee and the government contributes to the pension fund. Employee contributes 10% of their basic pay and dearness allowances, while the government contributes 14%. Okay. Now here you can say proposed to be increased to 18.5%. So please remember that from 14% they will be increasing it to 18.5%. Now here government is contributing, you can say 18.5, let's say, or you can say 14% or 18.5%, and here 10% is being contributed by the employee. Okay. Now this fund is created over here. Now what they are doing is they are using this fund to make investments. Now whatever pension is coming to you, it based on the how these investments are performing. Okay, so there is no assured pension. Okay, if your investments are not performing, you will not be getting any pension. If your investments are performing good, you will be getting good pension. Okay, so here you can see no assured pension provides a market linked return, meaning the final pension depends on the performance of the investment funds chosen by the employee. Now this is not only the fund. Okay, there will be an option given to you, like which kind of fund you want to invest in, like SBI, LIC, Kotak Mahindra, like that. There are various funds. Okay, you can choose high risk or low risk fund, and then you can say invest your money in that, from that particular fund. However that fund is performing, that you will be getting the pension. Okay, so that is there. Index inflation risk was also there. Pension are not guaranteed and are subjected to market fluctuations. As I told you, it is related to the investments and not the assured pension. So there was no inflation indexing which was done over here. So what was the option here? What individual can under the NPS can choose from a range of schemes from low risk to high risk, and a pension fund managers prompted by the public sector banks and financial institutions as well as the private companies. Here are the options, like there will be funds which are sponsored by SBI, LIC, UTI, HDFC, ICICI, Kotak Mahindra, Aditya Birla, etc., etc. So whichever fund you are investing in, on the basis of performance of that particular fund, you will be getting the pensions. Okay, so that is about the national pension scheme. So we have talked about the national pension scheme, we have talked about the old pension scheme. In the old pension scheme, it was assured 50% you will be getting, indexation was also there, but the burden was totally on the government. Okay, in the new pension scheme, we have seen that it was market linked, there were various funds which has been created. Okay, so that was there. Now we are talking about the unified pension scheme, which is kind of having the best of both schemes. Okay, so it will be a fund which will be created, but that will be having a assured pension. Okay, and the burden will not only be on the government, because employee is also contributing in that. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now we are coming to the next article, which is related to the CBI gets Delhi LG's sanctions to prosecute Kejriwal in the excise case. You know that this case has been going on for a long time. There was issues related to the excise duties, etc. So in that particular case, CBI actually got the sanction to prosecute. Now what is sanction to prosecute? So when we are talking about a public servant, we have Prevention of Corruption Act. Okay, under that act there are certain procedure which has been given there, that if you have to go for any kind of prosecution or the investigation against a public servant, you have to take a prior sanction from the authority. Okay, now this authority will differ in different cases, but in case of CM, if we talk about, the authority is governor. Okay, now when we are talking about Delhi's chief minister, we know that Delhi is a union territory having a legislative assembly, and that is why here we have lieutenant governor, and lieutenant governor will be the authority. Okay, so here in this case, lieutenant governor has given the sanction. Now there are two kind of sanctions. One is sanction for investigation. So first you have to take the sanction for the investigation. If you get the sanction for the investigation, you will go for the investigation, and in investigation, if you find that there is a prima facie case against that particular public servant, then you will be asking for the sanction for prosecution, because already there is a case which is there. Okay, so for the prosecution, in this case now they have asked for the sanction for the prosecution. Now where these provisions are given? These provisions are given in the you can say Prevention of Corruption Act. Okay, so here you can see legal provision for the prosecution of public servant for corruption. Now sanction for the investigation, there is section 17A of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. No investigation by a police officer into any offence committed by a public servant can occur without prior sanction from the proper authority. Now they are saying that they need to have a prior sanction from the authority. Now this authority will be different for different people. Okay, so for, let's say, for CM we have Lieutenant Governor in Delhi, and otherwise in states we have governors. Okay, recently in the Kolkata case as well, there was this, when we are talking about prosecution, there was these sanctions were needed, and when we are talking about the you can say that Muda scam, in that also this sanction was recently needed and it was given. Now coming to the next section, that is section 19 for the Prevention of Corruption Act. These are the sections we are talking about from the Prevention of Corruption Act, that is 1988. No prosecution of a public servant can proceed without the permission of the governor. Initially only governor section for the investigation is required. Okay, so earlier we have called for the sanction for the investigation. Okay, so for the investigation, and now we are talking about the sanction for the prosecution. Okay, and here authority is governor. Okay, if sufficient evidence is found during the investigation, a separate sanction is required to launch a formal prosecution. First you have taken the, you can say, sanction for the investigation. If you found the sufficient evidence, then you will be taking a sanction for the prosecution as well. Okay, I hope that is clear. This is the, you can say, legal provisions which are given in the Prevention of Corruption Act. Okay. Now moving to the next article, which is related to India and Ukraine. India lends Ukraine a shoulder. Okay, you know that after the Poland visit, Prime Minister has gone to Ukraine, and in Ukraine they have talked about the current situation. There are certain things which has been gifted by our Prime Minister to Ukraine, and we have had a good talk over there. So here you can see there are certain statements which are there. We can talk about that. That we have stayed away from the war, but we are not neutral. We are for peace. Okay, that is the statement which is made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi over there, that we are not neutral, and we have stayed away from the war, but we are not neutral. We are for the peace. And I told Putin on his face that this isn't an era of war. Okay, so that is the statement which has been made by the Prime Minister Modi. Now moving further, here you will be saying today history was made with Prime Minister's visit. India supports Ukraine's national sovereignty and territorial integrity. That was the statement which has been made by the Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky. Okay, so that is there. Now here they have talked about that we don't have to go for war, we have to find a solution which is offering you peace. Okay, so that was given, and which you can see over here. Solution can't be found on the battlefields. The road to resolution can only be found through the dialogue and diplomacy, and we should move in that direction without wasting any time. That was the statement made by the Prime Minister Modi. Okay, both sides should sit together to find out a solution to this particular crisis. Okay. Then from the today's newspaper, you can see that Zelensky red flags balancing act on war. He pitches for India's to host the peace summit. Now in that particular you can say article, it was said that the president of the Ukraine has said that they have actually said that you don't have to be away from the war, you have to take side and you have to take our side. Okay, so that has been pitched by the Zelensky. Obviously they wanted to make their case, but they have offered one more thing over here, that India can be a possible venue for the peace summit. Last time there was a peace summit which held in Switzerland. Okay, so that was known as Swiss Peace Summit. Okay, there was no outcome from that because India or various nations has had the various you can say different opinions over there. India has said that without Russia being on the table, there will be no solution which will be very effective. Okay, so now over here Zelensky has said that India can be a possible venue for the peace summit and offer to bring together the warring parties of Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so that is there. Zelensky said that he needed India on his side and not balancing between US and Russia. Okay, so that is you can say the current situation when we are talking about the Russia, Ukraine and India's involvement in the Russia-Ukraine war. Now we will be talking about a particular gift which has been given by Prime Minister to the Ukraine, that is Bhishma. 4 Bhishma cubes for the emergency, you can say medical care has been given by the Prime Minister to Ukraine. So here you can see Prime Minister Narendra Modi gifted 4 Bhishma cubes, compact mobile medical units aimed at providing emergency care to his government. Okay, so basically here you can see these are the cubes over here, and these are having all kind of facilities. Okay, they can actually take up more than 200 patients in a day. They can even go for the surgeries. Okay, so that is the kind of facility which has been provided in these cubes over here. Here you can say Bharat Health Initiative for Sahyog, Hit and Maitri. Okay, with the name itself it is clear that it is for the, you can say, any kind of international aids which are we are giving. Bharat Health Initiative for Sahyog, Hit and Maitri. It is unique effort which will ensure medical facilities in rapidly deployed manner, contain medical medicines and the equipment for the medical care. Okay, here you can say a critical tool that will help expedite the treatment of the injured and save precious lives amid the war with Russia. That has been said by the Ukrainian sides. Here you can see it was developed under the project Arogya Maitri. Okay, now please remember that this project is important for you. Okay, the Arogya Maitri, a program to provide essential medical supplies to developing countries as a humanitarian assistance. Okay, so please make sure that you remember the name, project Arogya Maitri. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further, here you can see there are certain traits or the characteristics of this Bhishma cube has been given. Consist of medicines and the equipment for the first line of care and all kinds of injuries and medical situations. Okay, so that is there. It also includes surgical equipment for a basic operational room that can manage 10 to 15 basic surgeries per day. Okay, so even operations can be performed in this particular unit, and 10 to 15 surgeries can be performed in a day. Okay, other than that also they can go for the 200 cases of the diverse nature in the emergency situation like trauma, bleeding, burns, fractures, etc. Okay, it generates its own power, okay, and oxygen in a limited capacity, but it has the capacity to generate the power and the oxygen as well. A team of experts will be there to actually will be deployed in the Ukraine to make sure that they understand the working of this particular units. Okay, so that has been given by India to Ukraine, that is Bhishma cubes. Okay, now for our examinations point of view, we have to remember 2-3 things. One is that what is Bhishma cube. Okay, second, what is the full form of Bhishma. Here you can see Bharat Health Initiative for Sahyog, Hit and Maitri. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, you have to remember what is project Arogya Maitri. Okay, so these 3-4 things are important for this particular article. Now we can move further to the next one, that is related to Rajnath Singh's USA visit. Okay, at the time when PM was visiting, you can say, Ukraine, at that point of time our one of our minister was there in USA. So you can see the kind of balancing which has been done over here. So you can see jet engines to Munitions India US to speed up co-productions. Okay, so here you can see we will not go into details of it because there are certain names of the equipment which is not necessary for us to remember. So just know that India and USA has taken one more step towards the co-production of the various you can say ammunitions and the various, you can say, jet engines, etc. Okay, so here you can see, moving to deepen their defense ties, India and USA has agreed to advance priority co-production projects including jet engines, unmanned platforms, munitions and the ground mobility systems under US-India roadmap for defense industrial cooperation. Now this is something you should remember. If you are able to mention that in your examination, you will definitely get certain extra points. Here you can see India-US or US-India roadmap for defense industrial cooperation. Now you know that we have having a defense corridor, etc. in the UP. We are going for the various defense exhibitions, etc. because India is projecting itself as a country who wants to be a leader in the defense equipment exports. Okay, so that is why here you can see that is there. Now we are going with the USA for the co-production, so that will also boost the Indian defense industry. Okay, so that is there. The progress made in the defense co-production projects come at a time when US is headed for the polls. Now what does it reflect? That USA has the bipartisan support to India. Okay, whether any party which is there in the power, they will always be in the favor of, you can say, India. When we talk about Joe Biden's tenure, we have seen that we had good relations with the USA. We have seen that Donald Trump's regime as well, we had the good, you can say, relations with them as well. Back then in the Barack Obama's regime also, we had the good, you can say, relations. Now that is because India is quite crucial for USA, because we are at a particular situation wherein we can counter China. And right now, if we talk about Indo-Pacific region, USA needs someone to counter China, okay, and that is also in our own interest as well, okay. So that is there, that is why India and USA are supposed to have good ties, okay. So that is there. Now moving further, we will be seeing another article which is related to Mongolia, okay. So we will be talking about 2-3 minerals related articles today. One will be related to lithium, one will be related to copper here, okay. So without wasting our time, Adani and Birla, keen to tap Mongolian copper, faces logistical challenges. Now here you can see this is Mongolia. If you talk about the Mongolia's location over here, here you can see this is Mongolia, okay. Now here we have China. In the north we have Russia, here the Kazakhstan we have, but there is no direct border between, you can say, Mongolia and Kazakhstan, because this is the border. Here if we are talking about, this is Russian border and this is Kyrgyzstan's border, okay. Direct border is not there of Kazakhstan, so please remember that Mongolia does not have a direct border with the Kazakhstan. Here we have Kyrgyzstan here, okay. So this border is of Russia, sorry, this is not Kyrgyzstan, this is border of Russia, this is of China, okay. And when we are talking about Mongolia here, so here you can see this is landlocked country, okay. Now if you have to, you know, take up ore from here, copper, and then send it to India, how will you send it, okay. That is the logistical barrier which right now India is facing. So there are two companies like Adani's and Birla's, they are actually keen to go for the exploration of the copper over here, so that we can meet our domestic demands of the copper, because most of them are fulfilled by the imports, okay. Despite having copper in India, our exploration capacities are limited, and that is why we are dependent on the imports. And now we are looking for the ore from the Mongolia as well, because when we talk about the copper extraction, the process is quite, you can say, difficult over here. So here we can see that now we are trying to tap the resources from Mongolia, but the problem is that we don't know how to do that, okay. So right now we have two options. One is that Tianjin port in the China. So you can take a train from here to Tianjin port in China, and from the, you know, Yellow Sea and then South China Sea, and then you can come to India, okay. So that is one thing. Second thing is we can take a train from here to Russia, and then Russia's Vladivostok, we have a port over there, and from there we can take a route, ocean route, maritime route to the Chennai, okay. So these are the routes which are available. You know that we are having these difficult ties with China, so that can be a little bit problematic. And there is this Russia, when we talk about, this will be little more costly, because it is, we have to go for a longer travel, okay. So that is there, but right now these are the two options, and they are also exploring further as well. Now looking at the this particular article, what is important for us from the prelims point of view, one is that we are sourcing copper from Mongolia, okay, and these are the private companies which we are talking about. Second important thing is the location of Mongolia, okay. We have India over here, somewhere over here, okay, and this is China, and we have Tajikistan, here we have Kyrgyzstan. Mongolia is here. In the north it has Russia, in the south it has China, and there is no other country which is having a border with Mongolia, okay. Please remember that it is not Kazakhstan's border, because there is a little bit border which is of Russia and China, okay. So Mongolia is landlocked, so there are logistical challenges which we have seen now. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to the Vigandhara, okay. So to boost the research, cabinet clears Vigandhara Biotech initiative. So in this particular initiative, what they are doing is they are trying to, you know, convert all the existing schemes of the Department of Science and Technology. They are taking all these under one, you can say, flagship, that is Vigandhara over here, okay. Now it is approved two key science initiatives. When we are talking about the center, they have approved two key science initiatives to strengthen the research base and the accelerate search for the science and technology solution to some of the country's pressing situations. When we talk about science and technology, we mostly go for R&D in that, so that we can take care of the problems which are there in the country. So that is why one thing is there. Second thing is the cabinet has decided to merge several existing science promotion programs that has been maintained by the Department of Science and Technology under a new initiative, that is Vigandhara. Okay, it hopes it would result in a better funding and utilization, because there are various you can say schemes which are running over there, and they are given the various funds. Now depending on the progression of these schemes, there might be a underutilization of the fund, or the you can say overutilization of the fund, that can be there. So now the ministry has decided that they will take all these initiative under one program, and that one program will have the funding, and that will be devolved to different schemes. That way you can ensure that there is an optimal use of the funding. Okay, so that is there, and the idea here is to go for the R&D. Okay, and R&D in where? In the areas which are rising. Okay, so sun rising sectors, like when we talk about the biofuel, bioenergy, renewable energy, etc., which are there. Okay, so here you can say that is for the fund utilization, improve efficiency. So it also approved biotechnology initiative that will push for the research and development in the industrialization and the manufacturing in the biotechnology sector. We will be talking about that. Here you can say initiative was to focus on the scientific energies on some specific areas that were key to the India's sustainable growth and development in the coming decades, which is very simple, which is written over here. You don't have to explain this now. As I told you that there are various programs which has been merged. One of them is Inspire. That now when we are talking about this Inspire program, that was related to you can say attract young minds, young talents in the field of science. That is Inspire program. With the name also it is clear. Okay, so that is one of the program which was there. When we are talking about this Vigandhara, there are two components, three broad components. One is human and institutional capacity building. Okay, second is research and development, innovation, and the technological developments. Okay, so these are the three broad you can say components of this particular Vigandhara, that is human and the institutional capacity building. Okay, human and the you can say infrastructure, as well as human infrastructure, as well as the you can say the asset which they have to create. Then second is research and development, third is innovation and the technological developments and their deployment. Okay, so these are the three you can say initiatives. When we talk about here Anusandhan National Research Foundations, now Anusandhan National Research Foundation also has certain projects, okay, to make sure that there is no duplication with these you can say ANRF's projects and the projects which are run by the Department of Science and Technology. We have come up with the Vigandhara so that we can go for the better utilization of the fund. Okay, so that is there. Now on the biotechnology side, they have taken few initiatives over here. You can say new initiative aims to support innovation driven research and development across the 6 thematic areas. One will be biochemicals, bioenzymes, biopolymers. Okay, you know that biochemicals, bioenzymes, biopolymers, this means that we will be going for the you can say use of the atmosphere or the environment, and the you can say whatever biotic components are there, we will utilize them, and we will not go for the synthesis of the chemicals, okay, which will make it little bit more organic. So that is one thing. Here you can say second pillar, if we talk about, that is related to the proteins and the functional foods, smart proteins and the functional food. When we are talking about the pressure on the land with respect to the production of the you can say food grains, etc., to release that particular pressure from the land, we are going for the smart proteins and the functional foods. These functional foods or the smart protein are basically lab synthesized food which are having all the elements of a proper diet. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, here you can see the third focus will be on the biotherapeutics. Okay, now for the targeted therapy, etc., we can use the biotic components. Okay, target therapy is an emerging and the cutting edge treatment for the several genetic conditions, that is cancers, etc. Okay, so basically that is biotherapeutics. Then moving for the agriculture. Fourth is related to agriculture. So when we talk about agriculture, we can go for the biofertilizer, we can go for the biopesticides. That means that less and less use of the chemicals in the agriculture. So that is there. Okay, this was the you can say fourth pillar. When we talk about the fifth one, that is related to biofuels, biochemicals, etc., in the you can say capturing the carbon emissions, etc., okay, which will create a circular economy. Then moving further, you can say in the marine and the space applications. Okay, when we talk about the marine biotic components and the space industry, on that also we can use the biotechnology. So these are the broad aspects which will be covered under the Vigandhara. Okay, so they have actually taken everything, like when we are talking about the biochemicals, bioenzymes, biopesticides, then you can see over here that we are synthesizing smart proteins as well as the functional foods, etc., in the field of agriculture, in in the field of biotherapeutics also, they have actually taken everything under one umbrella scheme, that is, you can say, Vigandhara. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to the Chile's Atacama salt flats sinking due to the lithium mining. It is a new study which is saying, okay, we will not go into details of it, but I will tell you one thing. When we are talking about the exploration of the lithium ion, we are using the solution, brine solutions. Okay. Now brine solutions are nothing but this is basically having a solution of the which has been extracted from this particular area, and then they will be using water in that, and they will putting it for the evaporation. Water will get evaporated, whatever is left from that lithium is extracted. Okay. So these are the salt pans, because since water is being you can say evaporated, it will be there or the salt will be there, or you can say when we are talking about this particular salt pans here, this is somewhere over here, Atacama desert is there, and then you can see that there is a coastline. Okay. So from there they will be taking these minerals, and then they will be using solutions to get the lithium. Since they are exploring, or you can say going for the extraction of these you can say lithium ores from here, because of which this land is sinking. Okay, 1 or 2 mm speed of the 1 or 2 centimeters per year, this land is sinking, and because of which there will be effects on the various aspect of the livelihood. When we talk about the various aspect, ecological aspects, when we talk about the flora and fauna over there. Okay, so there will be certain negative impact will be there on that. So that is a study which has been talking about. Okay, so here you can say, according to a new study, Chile's Atacama salt flats is sinking at a rate of 1 to 2 centimeters per year due to lithium brine extractions. Okay, these lithium brines are basically you can say lithium ore from which lithium is extracted, and it will need nearly, when we are talking about the 1 ton. Okay, so for the you can say 1 ton of lithium, there will be 2000 tons of water which will be required. Okay. So ultimately that is also causing damage to the you can say water as well, fresh water as well, because when we talk about the water, we are talking about Atacama desert over here. Now desert already has less water, and now if we are using that amount of water for the extraction of a particular mineral, that means that the local people will be striving for the water, flora and fauna will be striving for the water, so ultimately it will have a negative impact on that. Okay, so this is the this is what article is talking about. Now talking about other thing, why in Chile? So this particular triangle you are seeing over here, that is basically ABC triangle, or that is Argentina, Bolivia, Chile triangle. Okay. Now Argentina, Bolivia, Chile triangle is also known as the lithium triangle. Okay, lithium triangle, because this is the area wherein world's nearly 55% of the lithium is found over here. Okay. And Chile being the largest supplier here, you can see when we talk about Chile, so here in the Atacama desert we are having this largest reserves as well. Okay, so that is Atacama salt flats. Other than that, when we talk about Argentina, India is also having certain kind of arrangement with Argentina. We are trying to have certain arrangements with Argentina, okay, with respect to the lithium explorations. Okay, so that is about this article. Please remember that there is this area of Atacama flats which is sinking, that is in Chile. Other than that, you can remember about the lithium triangle. Other than that, you can remember that India is trying to have an agreement or the arrangement with the Argentina with respect to that. Okay, and why this you can say decrease is there, because we are going for the lithium explorations, lithium extraction from that, and for you can say production of lithium also, when we talk about, there is a need of water which is nearly you can say for 1 ton of lithium extraction you need nearly 2000 you can say tons of water. So that is there from this point of view. Now there are 3 new Ramsar sites which has been introduced in the Ramsar list. When we talk about, there is this you can say Ramsar Convention 1971 is there, and there is a list which is basically protecting, the extra protection is being given to the wetlands. Now there are 3 wetlands, that is Nanjarayan bird sanctuary, that is there in Tamil Nadu, then Kaju Valley sanctuary, that is there in Tamil Nadu, and here you can see that Tawa reservoir, that is basically there in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so there are certain details which are given over here. You can go through this. Most of the time you will see whenever there is a wetland which has been given a status of Ramsar sites or otherwise also, there will be a ample amount of you can say avian fauna which will be present over there, or you can say birds which will be there, and that birds can be migratory or local birds as well. Okay, so there are some certain birds which has been named over here, so you can go through that, that would be important for you. Okay, now Moving to the last part, that is for your own reads, there is this article which is there, assessing Ukraine's deep incursion in Russia, why and what happens. Okay, as I told you in the when we are talking about the Kursk region in Russia, we have seen that there was this incursion which has been done by, you can say, Ukraine. There are certain people who are saying that there are certain you can say objective behind it, like there is bargaining chip. Okay, Ukraine needed a bargaining chip for the peace process, so that was there. Other than that, to boost the morale of the Ukrainian people. Okay, battlefield tactic can be there. Okay, status of an incursion, etc., which has been given over here. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is, Mr. Modi has travelled from a train. Okay, so that Rail Force 1, you have to see what is Rail Force 1. If you are interested, you can go through this article as well. Okay, so with that, today's discussion is over here. Now we will be looking at a question for your practice, that is basically given over here. Which of the following country is not landlocked? Mongolia, Bolivia, Paraguay and Congo. Okay, so you can attempt this question, answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.